Welcome. I'm Steph, an intuitive hypnotist from Quebec, Canada.
I'm Julie, a past life regression hypnotist and Reiki healer from Wisconsin.
And together, we are the Soulful Mystics. Hi everyone, Steph here. I'm so excited to share this double past life regression session facilitated by the amazing Mira with you. Julie and I set the intention to experience a life where we lived together. We left the rest open, but asked for anything that would help us understand our connection just a little bit more. That is exactly what we experienced, but so much more than we ever anticipated. Julie, Mira, and I will be getting together to chat about this session in more depth in the next episode. This session has been edited slightly for the podcast. We removed the long pauses so that it's more interesting to listen to with less airtime. We mention this because we don't want to give the illusion that people in hypnosis answer questions that quickly. Typically, people take time to observe the details and then translate what they're experiencing before speaking it out loud. We would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or suggestions, you can reach us on Instagram at Soulful Mystics Podcast or via email linked in the show notes. If you're interested in booking a session or just want to find out more about who we are and what we offer, you can find myself at soulfulstephanie.com, Julie at soulseekerhypnosis.com. Also, it's Julie's birthday month, and she's offering a 50% discount if you book a session with her in the month of May. And trust me, you will not regret working with her. And at 50% off, it's a huge deal. And if you want to work with Mira, you can find her at miradawson.com. Again, we linked everything in the show notes.
And I do want to issue a trigger warning here that this podcast episode does contain discussions about death by suicide, which some listeners may find distressing or triggering. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, please seek help from a mental health professional or a crisis support service. For Canada, please call 1-833-456-4566 to connect with a crisis responder. And for the U.S. National Suicide Prevention Line, please call 1-800-273-TALK 8255 or dial 988.
Standing in front of the door, you know that what is behind the door is an experience that will help you to support each other and grow with each other and experience all that life has to offer to the both of you. Before you walk through this door, know that the detail of what lay beyond will weave together a story, and knowing, insights or guidance that will help you in the highest and best way for you at this time in this life as Julie and Steph. So now opening the door and walking through the door, feeling safe, these details are becoming more and more clear as you begin to see yourselves in this experience. And whenever you are ready, Steph, we're going to start with you. What are you aware of here?
I'm in something that's like a castle feel. It's got brick everywhere or rock. I'm very poised and I have it's hard to breathe because of what I'm wearing. It's like a tight corset and big dress, and I have my hair done and I'm just staring at a portrait, a family portrait on a brick wall.
And do you get the sense that you're alone or with other people?
I feel alone, but there are definitely other people in this place. They're around, they're just not right next to me.
Good. And if you had a sense for the climate, the type of weather in this area, what would it be?
It feels damp. I wouldn't say it's cold, but it's like a damp, almost musky smell. I don't see the outside, so I'm not sure. I'm definitely inside walls, but inside it feels damp.
Go ahead and look at your skin and tell me, what do you see?
I'm very pale. I'm young, soft skin, just someone who's very well taken care of, clean nails. Everything is just made to perfection, it feels like. And that's very important. It doesn't feel important to me. It feels important to I almost like a family situation. I keep hearing clan for some reason, but I don't really know what that. It just feels like a family or how I'm seen is very important.
And how do you feel about your role in this family?
I hate it. I want to go outside and play in mud and just be free. And I'm not allowed to do that. I'm barely allowed to leave.
Do you get a sense for how big your family is?
In the portrait, there is parents, and either I think there's 3 kids, possibly a fourth. I'm not sure why it's a possibility. Either they've passed away or I'm not sure, but it feels like there should be 4, but there's 3.
And are you one of those children?
Yes.
Who are the other 2 children?
There's a girl and then there's a young boy.
Okay, now I'm going to go to Julie, and I'm just going to ask Julie, is there any information you would like to add to Steph's scene?
The door that I walked through, the portal, was like a really big, dark, enchanted tree. It was like dark and mysterious. And I had a big wooden door, and it looked like Celtic carving in the door. The word Celtic came to me. And when I went through it, I was outside in the forest at night. It was foggy and it wasn't cold. It wasn't hot. It was comfortable.
Mm.
And I felt like I was running or in a hurry to get somewhere.
Okay. And Julie, were you alone when you were walking hurriedly to get somewhere?
I feel like I am alone, but I feel like there's people that are close by.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're behind me or.
And do you feel intuitively that there are people close by, or do you somehow know?
It's like I get the sense like I can see what looks like other women with me. I don't get like a negative sense from them.
Okay.
It's almost like I'm trying to just hurry off somewhere ahead of them.
And are these women, if you can feel into them, how are they related to you? Are they relations of yours, friends, co-workers? How do you know these women?
I feel like we're maids or like servants of some kind. I feel like we all work together at the same place.
Okay. And where are you going as you walk through hurriedly that you're trying to reach somewhere? Where is it you're headed to?
It looks like a castle or like a really big house. It's just very grand and stone.
How do you feel as you're going to this castle? What is your sense? Are you hurrying because you're worried you'll be late for something important, or are you excited about getting there? How do you feel?
I feel a mixture of emotion. I feel like I'm going to see a friend, so like I'm sneaking off to see her, but I have to do it quickly, and no one can notice. So it's like I'm afraid to get caught, but yet it almost seems like it's something I've done before.
So Julie, we're going to fast forward in this scene until you get to the next event. And as soon as I count to 1, I want you to be there and let the details come in. 3, 2, and 1. Looking around, sensing, smelling, feeling. And where do you sense that you are?
I feel like I'm inside that castle now. I'm like looking around this long corridor to make sure nobody can see me. I'm coming up to a door and I want to knock on the door.
And when you get to the door, do you go inside? Do you knock on the door? What happens?
I knock on it, just very lightly.
And what happens next?
There's a girl that opens the door, and she's definitely of the family. She's dressed a lot nicer than me.
Okay, good. So do you recognize this person? Is this somebody that you're familiar with?
I do think it's Steph. She's very pretty.
Good. At this time, I'm going to ask Steph if there's any input you have into this particular scene or encounter as the woman that you were.
Yeah, and it's very emotional. I feel I was there. I opened the door and it just is the only part of my life that's been happy was this friend that saw me for who I really was and didn't put so much pressure on me to be something that I'm not. And and we're not allowed to be friends because we're in different classes, and I'm not allowed to leave the castle. I have to sneak away, and she showed me different, almost like tunnels and hallways and secret places within the walls. And when we met, it was like just the best time of my life. Like, I actually feel something I was taught not to feel. And when I hear the knock on the door, just excitement to, oh my God, where are we going to explore next? She just kind of showed me the world in a way that I hadn't been able to see it. And it's definitely a stronger connection than I've ever felt with anyone in that life. I don't even really know who my family is. They just pretty much my captors.
Good. Feel into that sense of being seen, that sense of truly feeling life and the joy in life with somebody who sees you. Do you get a sense, either of you, for your names?
I feel like she calls me Tia. I don't know if that's my name, but that's what she calls me.
Good. What does Tia call her friend?
I feel like it's Bree. I don't know if that's her name either. I feel like they're nicknames.
Good. Is there anything else from this scene that either of you would like to contribute as far as something you sense, feel, or know? Or would you like to move to another scene in this life?
I feel like we're working up a plan. I feel like there's a plan in place.
Okay.
I see it like we're not hugging, but we're like facing each other and we're holding onto each other's arms, like kind of in an embrace, but not hugging. I don't know. We're scheming up a plan, I think, to get her out of the castle, but I think it's for good.
Mm-hmm. I could see us going to the bed. This is like my bedroom, and we're putting things underneath the covers. And we chopped off some of my hair and kind of made it look like I was sleeping so that we would have more time to get away.
Okay, so this is something you guys are planning, but also enacting at the moment.
Yeah, and it feels like this has been a plan that we've been working up for a long time because the hair is a disguise. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're bringing, as I am sneaking up to her, I'm bringing like a supply one at a time, whether it's a piece of clothing. I feel like we're dressing her up as a boy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I said, I've done this many times where I've snuck off, ran up to meet her. I'm delivering something, dropping something off. But I feel like this meeting, this is it now. It's time to put the plan in action.
And Julie, how are you feeling about this plan and how it's going to unfold?
I feel very matter of fact about it. I feel so deeply for her and I see the way she's treated, even though she's some kind of royalty. She's not, this isn't the life she wants. And her family puts so much pressure on her to be proper and to be thin. And that is just not who she is. And I can see that. And I feel like helping her is the right thing to do. But I also know that if we were to get caught, the consequences would be death. I know that, but I'm willing to take the risk. So while there is a little bit of fear there, this has to happen now.
And what do you feel? I know that Steph feels seen by you. Julie, how do you feel that Steph treats you or that Steph feels about you?
I do feel a lot of love from her. I'm like a servant for her family. And I think we're close in age. I don't know if we're the exact same age, but I feel like we're close in age. And she has just always been very kind to me when her family has not. And she's always given me tiny little gifts and, little presents that I have to hide. And yeah, it's very mutual. There's so much love for each other. We're just good friends.
Wow, just sink into that mutual respect and adoration and love between the two of you. Just really feel it in your bodies, in your hearts. Just take a moment to let it sink in and know that it's still available in your lives as Julie and Steph as you go through to continue to feel this support from each other, and to know that you're going to really benefit the world in so many ways just by supporting each other. Steph and Julie, do you feel ready to move to the next scene?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so just moving to another scene in this life. And as I count from 3 to 1, you're going to just gently move to that scene, then let the details kind of soak in. 3, 2, and 1. Now in this new scene. And I'm going to start with Steph. Just letting the details come in, Steph. What do you see or sense around you?
Definitely outside, living a very simple life. It feels like on the run. I feel like that choice that we made, I was about to get married to somebody who was very powerful. I think I was supposed to get married the next day, which is why there was such an urgency. And it's not that he loved me or anything. He was a lot older. It was a humiliation. And he's like out for blood. It seems like there wasn't really any news or anything that we can get, but we have kind of a network or a community that goes into the town and hears stuff, and it's not safe to come out yet.
Mm-hmm. And you said you were living a simple life. Do you have a safe place to live?
Yeah, we have. It's someone's little home. Everything is just in one place, so you kind of live off the land type thing, which I'm learning to do, but it's not something that I have experience with. So there are other people. It seems like mostly women, if not all women.
Hmm. And do you get a sense in this scene that you're alone or with the other women?
Yeah, with the other women. Julie's there. There's older women, I think like at least 2 older women, and they're washing clothes. They're doing menial tasks that I'm just fascinated by.
Good. What is the task, Stephanie, that you feel that you are most intrigued by, that you want to learn how to do in this new life you have?
To cook.
Oh.
I love to watch them prepare and cook and think that it's so amazing that they can do that.
Yeah. Is there a dish that you really want to make?
I don't know why the word pheasant is coming up, but it tastes like chicken or gamey, but there's vegetables and it's so good. I always loved it when they made it for us at the castle, and just seeing how it's actually like what you have to do to prepare it is mind-boggling to me in that moment. And I want to get my hands dirty and just do it. And I feel like they're teaching me. So it almost feels like I'm pulling feathers out of a bird with Julie just kind of laughing and having fun. It's like the little things that made me feel really independent and strong because I could do this now.
Good. So, Julie, do you have anything to add for this scene? Are you with Steph doing anything in particular?
Definitely with her, and we get a lot of laughs out of the things that she doesn't know how to do. It's not like making fun of her in any way. It's very loving, but I see us planting a garden, and she's got her hands in the dirt, but then she sees a worm, and we just laugh and laugh and laugh. It doesn't scare her, but she just wasn't expecting it. And we just laugh about it. And it's stuff like that. So every time she's learning to do something new, it's always funny and we are always giggling about it. And I sense that some of the women get a little annoyed by it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's some resentment there just because she came from royalty and now, like, what is she doing here with us? But I feel too like there is a group of women that is very protective of us, and especially of Steph, but of me too, because they know what could happen to me if she was ever found.
I feel like the group of women, they raised us, both of us, because it almost felt like we were born around the same time. And Bree's mother was also a servant. So she was just born into that life. So she started working very young. And these other women saw us both grow up and had a hand in raising us. And I feel like that's why I'm different from my family, because they were more mothers to me than anyone else, or they feel like family. And yeah, I do feel that people get annoyed with that. Like, why would she leave everything? She had everything. She was spoiled. She was this, she was that. But I don't think they really understood the shackles that I felt every day. And I think they will learn to, like, I will grow on them because I do have a drive to learn. I want to learn, even though my questions may be annoying, because they think, well, you should know that vegetables that you eat actually have to come from somewhere and they come from hard work. And I want to do the work. And I think that eventually I will grow on them. But right now it's more of a hassle because they're also in danger for helping.
Hmm. So I just want to get a sense for this community. Are there any men in this community, or is it only women?
I don't see any men.
I don't see men.
Do any women leave this community, or do they all stay together throughout their lives?
I feel like some of them work in different places, and I'm not sure because sometimes they leave for long periods of time and then they come back.
Hmm.
I feel like people can do what they want. I feel like there's nobody holding them there and they're free to come and go as they please.
Let's move to another scene if y'all are ready.
Yes.
I'm ready.
So moving to another scene in this life is Tia and Bree. And I'm just going to count to 1. And as soon as I reach 1, just let the details of this new scene come in and just take your time to soak all of it in. 3, 2, and 1. So Julie, what do you sense in this place you're at?
I feel like I'm standing outside the cabin that we've been staying at. It's dark and I'm the only one outside. Very quiet.
Good. And what are you doing outside?
Like I'm just coming home, but there's like a hesitation or something. I don't know if I hear something outside and I stop to listen, or if I'm afraid to go inside for some reason. I'm like hesitating at the door.
It's like intuition. I have a bag over my head and I'm walking through a forest.
Okay.
It's like a mesh bag, or I don't know. It's hard to breathe.
This cabin you're standing outside, Julie, is it your cabin or is it someone else's cabin?
Our cabin, it's where Steph and I have been living.
And Julie, what do you do next? How do you handle this?
I'm not able to go through the door. There was somebody behind me. I feel like it's like a group of men. They were following me.
The next part of this scene, I'm just going to go back to Steph. You have a bag over your head. Do you know if there's a person with you and who they might be?
Yeah, they work for that man that I was supposed to marry, and there was an amount of money that was put to whoever can find me, and they found me. They're bringing me to him, and all I keep thinking of is that I'm so sorry for Julie and the women that helped me, because I know that it's the end. I don't even really care what happens to me at this point because my life is over anyway. Whether I stay alive and I have to marry him or do whatever they want me to do, like I'd rather die. But coming into their life ruined it and is going to cause a lot of pain.
So just take a moment to feel that emotion. And how would you describe that emotion if you had to put a word to it?
It's just gut wrenching. I feel sick. I feel just like I'm trying to disassociate. I'm trying to fight them off, but I have like ropes tied around my wrists and I don't see where we're going. I don't see who it is, but they're laughing. And it's a group of men of some stature. I don't know. They think they're important. I don't see them as very important, but they feel like they are, and I hate them. I have a lot of anger and resentment towards them and my family and that man.
If you could say something to those men and you didn't have a bag over your head and you knew you were completely protected, what would you tell them?
That what they're doing is wrong and There's so much more to life than money coming from somebody who had money. It's not worth it to ruin all of these amazing women's lives and relationships. Just let us be. We're not hurting anybody. We're just planting and we're cooking and we're doing all these fun things that doesn't affect anybody. So it's not worth the money, and to let us go.
So just step back if this becomes too much, the emotions, all of it. Just know that you can step back and just observe. And we're going to move through this scene, and you can find a place of rest if that feels comfortable, a safe place to go. And I'm just going to check in with Julie while you do that. And just ask Julie if you could just kind of go to that scene you were at and tell me if there's anything more that you would like to communicate about that experience.
I feel like I was surprised, but not surprised. And then it was almost like I just accepted what was about to happen. I feel like they brought me to where the rest of the women were sitting in the forest. Like they had them grouped together, tied their ankles and feet with ropes, and they had some kind of fabric over their mouths. And they just tossed me in with them and set our little village on fire.
Take a deep breath in. Just let that go. Just let it go and know that you are safe. Julie, is this the last scene of this life for you?
I don't quite think so, because they didn't kill us and burn us with the fire. I don't know if they're going to transport us.
Okay. Are you worried about Steph? Are you thinking about her at all?
I'm terrified for Steph. I feel like the whole point of moving us, this group of women, is they're going to make an example out of us, and they're going to humiliate her, and they're going to kill us in front of her, in front of the whole village, in front of the whole kingdom.
Okay. Is there anything else from this scene that either of you would like to communicate before we move to the next scene?
I could smell the fire and I thought that they were dead, but one of the men in the group actually, he seemed kind and he said, well, he didn't say anything. He just looked, I guess he was looking after me, like his hand is on my back rather than pulling. He's almost supporting me, and he like patted my back and squeezed my shoulder almost to tell me like it's okay, which I think I got like a little hint that they're okay, not really knowing what to expect because I know where I'm going. But my heart feels really heavy because it would almost be better if they did die in the fire. I feel like something, whatever would be coming next, if their lives were spared, it's going to be a lot worse.
Do you feel that heaviness in your body right now?
Yeah, my chest, just a heavy heart.
Just breathe into that heaviness, work through it. Know that it won't be there forever, okay? We will come back to it. Okay, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. And at 1, you're going to be in the next scene in this life as Tia and Bree. 3, 2, and 1. All right. Steph, what do you feel here or see or sense?
That I don't want to be there. I do see them lined up, the women. And it's almost like he made himself out to be a hero. He told people that I was kidnapped and that these women played a role in that when they were supposed to be serving the royal family. They, out of spite, kidnapped me and cut my hair and filthied me up. So the community was excited for them to die. And the humiliation of it was that because I was kidnapped and he said I was no longer a virgin, that he couldn't marry me, so that I was good for nothing, even though that wasn't true. There was no men, there was nothing of the sort. He just wanted to ruin my name in public. And so I was just as worthless. And I don't know what his plan is, but I am there and I'm forced to watch. But me and him and some of his men are on a balcony of some kind watching. They make sure that I'm actually watching.
And what are you doing to handle this emotion? Are you dissociating? Are you in your body? How are you coping with this or not coping?
I'm planning to kill myself. I'm looking for a way to do it. A lot has happened since I got back. I am no longer a virgin. And I feel like he had a lot to do with that. I've disassociated at that time and I hadn't really come back. I'm trying to disassociate from what I'm seeing, but I'm planning on jumping off the balcony.
And Julie, are you in this scene? Do you feel yourself there or do you feel that you've already left?
I see them on the balcony. I'm looking up at Steph and our eyes are locked on each other. And I'm trying to tell her, like I'm trying to communicate to her through that look that I'm sorry I failed you. And I just want her to keep going. I want her to get out and live.
Steph, do you know if Tia sees Bree in this scene?
Yeah. And I can feel her emotion. I can feel her message. I don't see them letting me get out and live. And I just want to join these women. I just want to be a part of them. And so if they die, I want to die.
So just step back if you need to, if this is too much. And I'm just going to let you ladies feel into if there's any other information that you want to say about this scene. Julie, is there anything else you want to say about what happens next?
Yeah, though I made eye contact with her when it was my turn to get up to the hanging block. And she was looking down at me. I had the rope around my neck.
Okay.
That's it.
Is this Bree's last experience in this life?
Yes.
Is there anything that Bree was thinking at that last moment before or feeling that she wants to communicate to us now?
Just that I was happy to die for her. I just felt like I failed her, but I would do it all over again.
And Steph, is there anything that Tia wants to say to us now at this moment before Bree leaves her body?
Just that she was such a bright light, not only in my life, but in everybody that she had contact with. And there was never any animosity. There was never any hatred. And I really admired that because in this moment, I hate everybody. The people watching, especially the people cheering it on, they don't think for themselves. They just listen and follow this disgusting human. And I just have so much hate when she gets hung. There's so much power within me that I jump the balcony and I fall. And in that falling moment, it's just a lot of hate for them and love for Brie and the women. It's like a mixture, like you love people who deserve it, who deserve everything in the world, and they're just taken down by all these monsters. And then the people who watch and encourage it they feel almost worse to me because without them, these monsters would have nothing to go off of. They would have no fuel to their fire. And so I jump into the crowd and I just remember feeling happy that I took a couple of them down with me as I died there.
So let's move into the next state here. Julie and Steph moving into the space beyond this life. And we're just going to transfer into the spirit world. We're just going to get a sense about your thoughts just after you've left your body. So Steph, once you've left your body, what are your soul's experiences and thoughts and feelings about that life?
I have that lingering feeling of hate and anger because it wasn't necessary. And I feel like the love overpowered that in the end. It's almost like I see or experience all of our souls together, all of the women who died there together, but then also the one that I took one with me. I hurt the other one when I fell on them. And then I kind of felt love for them because they were just cheering in fear. It's almost like they didn't know any better, just like I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know where vegetables came from when I lived at the castle. They were that naive, and I feel that compassion towards them, and I kind of regret not taking the time to feel that compassion for these people in the community, because I feel like that's what Julie would have done. And that's something that I wanted to learn from her in that life, with just how to feel that love and compassion towards people who just don't understand what they're doing, or they don't have that insight. I do see the other women's souls, like it's like we were all lifted at the same time, and she waited for me, or she waited to see what would happen. And I do feel like she wanted me to stick around and try to escape again, but it just wasn't something that was in the cards for me. So we kind of like all leave together.
Beautiful. Just feel that support of those women with you, their souls, and that compassion that Julie's taught you for these beings that didn't know any better, that were so naive. And Julie, what are the last thoughts, feelings that your soul had after departing Bree's body?
Well, I saw Steph jump at the last minute. I saw her. It was almost like leap towards me as they released the bottom of the platform. But I felt like I accepted my fate, although I was afraid for her. But then I just get the sense that our souls went right to each other once we died. And I do sense the others around, but it's not like I don't care. It's just my main concern is her.
Good. So just keep this love for each other that you have. Feel it in your bodies and your souls, and know that it does affect those other women, and that you do inspire them with your care for each other. And we're just going to move to a place of spiritual guidance. And before we do that, is there anything, Steph and Julie, that you would have changed or would do differently about those lives that you had as Tia and Bree? Or do you feel kind of confident that you did what you could as best as you could, and you're satisfied with how it turned out?
I'm satisfied with how it turned out. I really loved the life. It's almost like before we ran away, I was just a shell, an empty shell. And I'm just so grateful that I got the experience, actual life experience, and love and community and sisterhood. Like, sisterhood just keeps coming up. And because of that, everything else was worth it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That sisterhood, that's such a beautiful thing, such a support.
Yeah.
And Julie, is there anything that you would have changed as in your life as Bree, or how do you feel about your life?
One thing I would have changed is that I feel like I let her down. I felt like I was the one protecting her. And so I feel that responsibility, and I feel like I failed. Although, like, I just have the sense that, not that my life didn't matter, but I was just more concerned for her, and I knew the risks I was taking, and I was perfectly okay with that. So I feel very matter of fact about that, but I just have regrets around her, and that I wasn't able to protect her in the way I wish I could. And I feel that in my body too.
Where do you feel that in your body, that sense that you failed her, or that you didn't do what you thought you wanted to do for her?
It's in my lower back on the right side, like in the kidney area. And I also feel it in my right hip as well.
Okay.
It feels like someone took a dagger and like stabbed me right in that area.
Okay. And I want you to just sense into that area, the kidney and the right hip. And if you had to associate that area with a chakra, what would you associate it with?
I feel like it's both root and sacral.
We're going to sense into that root and sacral chakra in those areas of the body, the kidney, the right hip. Just breathe into those areas. And if you can get a sense for some of the things in life, some of the ways that this this feeling of failure has manifested in your life, what would that be?
Like that stuckness that I feel, like the unable to move forward. Like what I felt that a lot throughout my life.
We're going to go ahead and work with that stuckness. Is there any message that that stuckness wants to tell you before we decide if we want to remove it?
I feel like it's almost like a layer of protection, like it's protecting me from future failure by keeping me where I am.
Wow. So it's trying to protect you, this part of you. I want you to talk to this part of you that's trying to protect you. And before we decide to remove it, just tell it a message so that it can see that it may have had a purpose at one point, but it doesn't need to be there anymore.
Thanked it for protecting me and that it's time to go.
Are you ready to release that feeling, Julie? Are you ready to release that sense of stuckness?
Yes.
So let's just see and sense a way that we want to remove the stuckness in your root and sacral, in that hip, the right hip and kidney. And you can do any manner of things. You can cut it out, you can vacuum it, you can transmute it in any way you choose. How would you like to do that?
So I'm getting an image like it's a sword or a dagger that is stuck in that area. And I feel like I need a guide or something to pull it out.
Great. I want you to think of who you would like to ask, or if you just want a guide or a being that you trust to step forward.
I would like to help if I can to pull it out, because you gave me that reason to live and I don't want you to hold on to that anymore. If I could help, even with one of your guides, love to help pull that out.
That would be wonderful. Yes.
Thank you.
So, Julie, if you're okay with that,
yes.
Staff is going to help you. And if there are any other guides you'd like to call upon or helpers in the spirit world that have our best interests and the good of all at heart, then we're just going to do that at this moment. And how would you like them to help you remove the dagger?
I see everybody just doing it all at the same time, like all in one effort, just pulling it right out.
Beautiful. Just take a deep breath. And then if you want, just let it out in any way that feels comfortable. Just feel the relief in that area, the lightening. We're going to take that dagger, we're going to transmute it. We're going to throw it into the sun and let the sun transmute that energy. And it's just going to come back as a cooling, beautiful mist of love and compassion and forgiveness. And it's just going to rain down on the earth and bring love and compassion to all those who need that forgiveness. And we're going to put some of that beautiful compassion into that area of your body and just fill it up with that love and peace. So, Julie, how do you feel in that area of your body?
So much better.
Good. Wonderful. Thank you to Steph and our guides and helpers in the spirit world for helping Julie, and to Julie herself for going through this process. So Steph and Julie, just scanning your bodies and your aura. Steph, I'm going to ask you if you are carrying any residues or energies from this life as Tia that are not serving you now as Steph.
Well, I had that heavy heart, but as soon as the dagger was moved, I felt that weight lifted. So I think, my body feels pretty clear, almost like they were connected somehow.
Beautiful.
I heard like a whisper in my mind. It said, with her helping remove that was healing for her. Her helping me heal was helping her heal.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now just feel this pride in yourself, in your body, in your aura. Know that you are safe. Know that these feelings of love and forgiveness and compassion will grow more and more inside of you every single day. Sending love and gratitude to everyone from your past lives as Bree and Tia, both you and the others in that life. And we will now move into a space of spiritual guidance where you both will sense and know the answers that you need at this time. So moving into that space, my first question for your guides and higher selves is, why did Julie and Stephanie experience this past life at this time?
It feels like just power of connection, power of friendship that creates an impactful story and an impactful purpose. I feel like sometimes we feel stuck and not knowing what our purpose is, although it is a lot of little things. Friendship and community is one of the big ones right now, and part of our struggle or hurdle is living so far apart and still maintaining that and sending each other courage and energy and confidence like we did, even though we lived in two separate worlds in this past life. We found a way to merge those worlds and make something beautiful out of it.
And Julie, what do your guides say about this particular life and why you were shown these lives as Tia and Bree?
See them smirking like, silly girl, you already do this. You love each other. You already do these things. You've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
It was a reminder of that.
Good. Is there any other reason or any specific reason why Julie and Steph chose to be in such different places in this particular lifetime?
It's part of our learning. It's sharing our light and doing it from different areas of the world. And for us to learn that we don't always have to be in the same space to be together.
And you could be far apart and feel this strong of a bond and connection, so that distance and time really doesn't matter because we have that power within us.
Mm-hmm. What can Steph and Julie do in order for their podcast to thrive and to move forward in the best way possible and to serve as many people as possible?
We're in the beginning stages. I kind of see an infant stage where we're learning about ourselves, we're learning about our speaking style, we're learning how to use our voice. And so the audience is a bit smaller. If it were any bigger, we might feel a lot more pressure, so that it will grow in time as we grow and as we gain our confidence within ourselves. It's just going to keep going at a steady flow.
And how can Steph and Julie continue to grow and attract more clients and maybe other topics that they can address? What would you like them to address in their podcast to help more people and increase their reach?
First of all, have patience. Patience is really important. It's going to take some time to grow, but it's going in the right direction. I feel like it's very positive.
I keep hearing just be you.
Okay.
For both of us. Like, just being yourself is what's going to attract the right people, and go with the flow, as in with topics. Have that brainstorming and have topics that come up, but to go with how you feel, because that's what people are going to need. So whether it's a lighthearted, fun conversation or a really deep, inspiring conversation, to just trust the flow of life and go with that.
That's beautiful. What can you tell them about their businesses as hypnotists and healers?
The more you shine your light, the more people you will reach.
And the more you heal yourself, the more bright your shining will be. And so it's like a healing ourselves so that we can shine that light and help heal other people through our words.
Are there any ways that Julie and Stephanie are currently dimming their lights that they can start addressing?
The self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And how does the self-doubt show up?
In their thoughts.
And what is a good way for them to work with those thoughts and help ease that self-doubt?
Communicate with each other when those thoughts come up, and getting together more frequently to do like a phone call, or even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, phone call is so much stronger than through text, hearing each other's voices or even seeing each other on the computer is helpful. But sometimes a phone call is better than just texting.
Mm-hmm. Any advice you have for them for how they can help each other grow? We have the regular phone calls. And is there any other advice or encouragement you would like to offer, Steph and Julie?
To just be, and I just keep hearing, I've got you, and believing in that, because that's something that maybe on both sides we didn't feel before, or it's just the trust that it's a mutual connection, a mutual relationship, and that we need to trust that we've got each other's backs.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
I keep hearing remote viewing. I keep hearing to try remote viewing so that we can have experiences together without being in the same physical space, but to try to have the, like, if I just see myself going to a park and really focusing in on certain aspects of that park and feelings and emotions and textures, like touching the fence or touching the grass, and arranging a time where Julie is meditating during that time, whether it's 15 minutes of just taking in everything that's around, and then her either drawing or writing or talking about her experience of what she experienced during that meditation, so that we can experience certain things. I feel like it might feel a little daunting at first, but that we're going to get so good at it that if she goes to a concert, I'll be able to sit at home and meditate and be at that concert with her.
Wow, I just got this really intense chill. Yeah, definitely. Wow, what a great strengthening that telepathic bond between you two and doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
Julie, do you have anything to add about that suggestion, or do your guides have anything they want to say about it?
I agree with every single thing she just said. And I feel it is just strengthening that bond and then trusting in each other. It's not how it came worded to me before. I feel like I've lost it, but I feel like it's something that's going to continue to grow as time goes on. And then it's the reminder we've barely known each other for a year, and look how strong we bonded we already are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's going to continue.
Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and express our gratitude. And before we do that, are there any other last thoughts or expressions that are coming through?
I feel this connection with you, Mira. It's like when you mentioned the chords at the beginning, this entire time I felt like we were all three connected, and there's a chord running through each of us. The sisterhood it runs deep. I just feel like you're a part of that, and you were a part of this journey more than I've felt in a facilitator. It just keeps coming up, and the sisterhood just keeps coming up. So had to mention.
Yeah, I've actually been on a emotional roller coaster during this session. So I thank you for that, Stephanie. That's beautiful. Love that.
And that's it for today's episode. Until next time, stay curious.